have taught 5 years of kindergarten and 4 years of first grade. Here's what I've learned. My huge takeaway was that guided reading will make or break your instruction in these grades, as these 2 years are the most crucial time for reading development. As such, I quickly learned what things I should do at my guided reading table that would make or break my instruction. Here they are.
Hello, I'm Nicole from Teacher of 20, and here I love to inspire new and seasoned teachers by talking about all things classroom organization, student engagement, and teaching hacks to make your life a breeze. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. I upload every Friday at 2 p.m. Also, please hit the like button. It helps the algorithm know to suggest these videos to other people that may benefit from this content. Without further ado, let's dive in. Number 1, it's important to start with phonemic awareness. For this, I use Elkonin boxes and manipulatives. So I have a stack of Elkonin boxes with the images of the word that I want the student to say. You don't have to have this. You can just have like a regular Elkonin box, just like of 3 or 4 phonemes or however many you're studying. In kindergarten, what I used to do is we would do it like each student. So I would give one to one student and then they would do it. For the word mat, I would say the word mat and they would say at, and bring down the manipulative as they said it, and then they would blend the word again, mat, and swipe all the manipulatives away when they blended the word. For the word bat, at, bat. That's what the student would say. And I would just give one to each student, and everybody else would be listening to that student segment the word. And if they needed help, I was right there to help them. The thing that I really like about these, the ones that I have at my TPT store, which are linked in the video description below, most students learn to segment 3 phoneme words relatively easily. I would laminate those and I would put those in a center where they could independently write out the words that they knew and then erase them. That was kind of like a quick independent center that kind of reinforced, first of all, the phonemic awareness lesson that they had gotten from guided reading, but it also included phonics in it. There are harder and harder Elkonin boxes, and so those you would introduce. And then once the students mastered that, you could put those in a center and so on and so forth. But again, you do not need to purchase these or anything fancy if you just have like a set of 4 or 3 boxes and manipulatives. Your students can use that as well. Number 2, sight word practice. As we introduced a sight word or 2 sight words per week, I would add those to a deck of cards that I would have flashcards that I kept at my guided reading table, and then during guided reading, I would give students so this is done differently. I would do it differently than phonemic awareness, where I was doing one with each child and everybody else was listening. In this one, I would give 5 cards to each kid from my deck of cards that we had been learning that year. And then everybody at the same time would quietly read those cards while I'm listening to them read their sight words. And then when I said switch, once I saw that everybody had read them 1 or 2 times, I would say switch and everybody would pass them over to the person on the left or right, whatever. And I would grab this person's and give it to that person. And then I go, okay, go again. And then we would rotate until everybody had read all the sight words. This worked beautifully towards the end of the year when we had learned a lot of sight words. At the beginning of the year, we're still just adding sight words to our deck. I really liked this strategy because I felt like it maximized my time with students reading and giving output, maximizing their time instead of just sitting there waiting for one kid to read the whole deck or something. Those two things were kind of like very quick, and it was just kind of like part of my routine. And then after I did that, I would introduce the phonics skill. So if it were like an on grade level group, I would just reiterate the skill of the adoption for that week. If it were a lower group, I would choose something that, you know, was easier than that. So a short vowel sound or a digraph versus a vowel pair. And so the way that I tackled the phonics skill is I would usually do a word sort. It depends on how I was doing with time. If I had spent too long on sight words or the phonemic awareness piece, then I would sometimes like cruise by this one so that we could get down to reading, which is my next skill. But if I felt like this group was strong in sight words and we just breezed through the sight words and the phonics skill is what I wanted them to focus on, then I would spend more time on this. It just depends on your group and the time that you have left in that day. Number 4 is read the book. So for read the book, again, you want to maximize your reading time. So if you spent a lot of time on the word sort yesterday, then make sure that you maximize your time doing reading today with the group that you know, spent a lot of time yesterday on the sight words or the phonics skill for. Usually towards the beginning of the week, we would do a shared reading or a book walk, and then as the week progressed, we would lean more towards independent reading, making sure that you have a lot of time of them reading the book. Depending on what level they're reading on, they could read like, I know in kindergarten I struggled with this because everybody was so low in their DRA level or, you know, Fountas and Pinnell level or whatever. Like they were very low in their reading. So sometimes I would have like 2 or 3 books that they would read during this time. Finally, number 5 is comprehension, which is often overlooked because sometimes kinder teachers try to do it during their read aloud instead of their guided reading block. And there is no real way to prevent this from getting overlooked. The only thing that I can say about that is be intentional with your guided reading group. So if you are spending time in the book, try to monitor kids' comprehension. Maybe one day pick one kid, the next day the next kid, just to talk about, hey, what's going on in the story, who are the characters, what's the setting, what's the problem in the book, how did they resolve it, just because that way they know that that's something that they're, you know, being held accountable to. Thank you so much for joining me. These are the steps that I implemented for guided reading in the Kinder First classroom. I really found that having this system in place really helped me have fluent readers at the end of the year. If you liked this channel, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And let me know what you thought of this video. If you're interested in those Elkonin boxes or any other center activities, I'll have those linked down below in the video description.